Actually, I'm going to just go back to the issue of the PDU. I wanted to say I'm proud to be involved in transfer of knowledge. I actually have another side job, and that is VP of Professional Development for one of PMI's largest chapters, PMI Mass Bay, which is the Boston area. And I take quite a bit of pride in having brought, I hope, a good series of presentations and development opportunities to the 2,000 plus project managers in our area. And so I applaud CAI for providing excellent educational opportunities as well. So here's the question we'll attempt to discuss with you today. The fundamental overarching question is, how is green, or let's expand that to the environment, and even further you'll see we'll kind of expand that to the triple bottom line or the term sustainability. How is that relevant to project management, and in particular, how is that relevant to IT project management? We get this question a lot. Sometimes it's a curious type of question, and sometimes it's a very much of a challenge. People really question us with how could this possibly be in our ballpark as project managers. So let's try to approach that. If you look at business, both in general business and IT, people in the business world are getting it. You'll see books like The Greening of IT, Green IT, The Foundation of Green IT, Green Technology, and then if you enlarge your view a little bit, and I don't have images of these, but you've probably seen books like this. You have Hot, Flat, and Crowded. You have Green to Gold. You have The Truth About Green Business, all excellent resources, by the way, all really kind of showing that business is buying into this principle that sustainability is an important part of work. Sustainability is an important goal that is set by the companies. And the question is, how does that filter down to, I'll say down, to operations? I don't have a slide on this, but I do want to also use this opportunity to refer to a business model that comes from Stanford University called the Strategic Execution Framework. And in that model, you have ideation and conceptualization of the company, the vision, mission, and so forth at the top. And you have operations down at the bottom. It's just the context they chose. And guess what's in the middle? Projects, programs, and portfolios. That's how the rubber, that is the ideas and so forth, hits the road, the operations. So we, as project managers, whether we're in a biofuel factory or an IT organization, we are the organization, not really an organization, but the function that gets that rubber to hit the road. So I'd like you to just take a moment and think about the fact that business gets it, and now it's really our job as project managers to also kind of get it. So what is green project management? As I said, we'll try to continue to use the word green, but I'd like you to also think about sustainability when you hear that term green, and think about not just environmental issues and saving trees and species and so forth, although that's very important and good altruistic practice. We're talking here about sustainability in the broad sense, which means both, well, all three, economic, ecological, and business, ecological, and overall sustainability. So we like to assert that this is not a new knowledge area. If you're familiar with the PMBOK guide, you know there are 9 knowledge areas like risk and quality, communications, and so forth. But we do not want to see this become a new knowledge area, because instead, this is the kind of thing that really needs to be mixed in with everything you do. Also, in terms of process groups, we know there's 5 process groups in the PMBOK guide from initiation to closing. But those process groups also shouldn't be considered intact and not open to these sustainability issues. In fact, they really do need to be worked into each of the process groups and each of the knowledge areas. And I think we'll talk to this later, but we actually have formally proposed to PMI for the 5th edition PMBOK just that some of these ideas work their way into the PMBOK guide, so that this type of thinking is prevalent. We're not trying to add extra work to PMs. We're not trying to make your scope larger. What we're instead doing is finding some value in thinking in this way, and some value to the business as well as to you as a project manager and to your career as a project manager in the area of kind of an expanded thinking, increased identification of risk, and so forth. When we first started this company and we first began work on the book, we looked at several books. We mentioned Green to Gold and The Truth About Green Business. And after reading those books, we came up with 5 assertions. And this is a basis for a lot of our thinking and certainly a basis for the book. The book is shown now on your screen, Green Project Management. Actually, I'll tell you a quick story about the book, and that may help us here. The book's cover design was given to us as a choice of 2 different book covers. I wish we had more, but we had only 2. One showed some solar panels in the front and some daisies and sunflowers, and in the background a blazing sun with some windmills and more solar panels, and it was kind of a collage of all these alternative energy systems. And then we were given the choice of this tree, which is blooming with, it's hard to tell from the photo, but with dollar bills, or at least with currency. And we quickly chose this book cover because the other one gave the implication that we were talking about managing green projects. In other words, managing projects which were involved with the environment, so a biofuel factory or a solar plant or a solar facility or a company doing research in biofuels. No, we are much beyond that. We are focused on project management as a practice, and there are things we can do as project managers in any field that can improve sustainability aspects for your organization. So let's go to those 5 assertions. And we have the Evelyn Wood version, the speed reading version of the 5 assertions here. First one is doing the right thing. Some of these altruistic things we talked about, like conserving energy and thinking about waste, thinking about conservation, thinking about treating people correctly. All of these things that are really triple bottom line or sustainability thinking activities, those things are going to help you do the things correctly. So doing the right thing helps the project team do things right. The second assertion is that green PM or sustainability thinking helps better equip your team respond to project risks. One of the things we both teach in our courses is that you cannot respond to any risks you haven't identified. And project managers, good project managers, know that they need to brainstorm both deeply and broadly. What are all of the threats and opportunities on the project? Reach out far and wide and deep into the organization to find out what kinds of things could go wrong or horribly right. And amongst the things you should be thinking about should be social responsibility, environmental responsibility, and long-term operation of the product of your project. If you do that kind of thinking, you'll identify a whole new set of risks, both threats and opportunities, that you can treat because, well, you've identified them. Having not identified them, guess what? You're going to respond to those as they show up rather than up front. And this is why planning is such an important part of not just the PMBOK guide, but also, as we all know, the PMBOK, the test based on the PMBOK guide. Assertion number 3, green project management helps the project as well as the product of the project, much along the same lines of identifying risks and helping your project go more smoothly. Your final outcome, whatever it is, whether it's a physical product, whether it's a software